Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. There's never a dull week when it comes to Celtic, is there? Lots to talk about this morning. Julian Araujo. Will Celtic be able to buy Julian Araujo at 9 million plus? I don't think so. That would be the main issue. I think the main issue is the 60 grand a week that the player is on at his current club. And at his age, there is no way that you're taking a wage cut to come to Celtic. Let's be honest about that. Yesterday, though, before we talk about the news that kind of broke yesterday and the whole Martin O'Neill thing, if you remember a few years back, Celtic Football Club, before the app came out, before the Celtic app where you can get all your breaking news, Celtic did announce on the 6th of November that the Celtic were bringing out a new Apple. They were launching on Apple News. Now, why this is all significant, I'll tell you in just a second. We're delighted to announce that we launched the new official Celtic Football Club channel on Apple News. This is an exciting new development that will make it even easier for supporters to stay up to date with the latest news from Celtic Park. Oh, the irony this week of that, isn't there? Get your latest news from Casper Schmeichel on CBS and didn't tell Martin O'Neill. We'll get to that in a minute, don't worry. But before we do that, obviously this led to the announcement by Celtic that they were going to appoint a man that had worked as a director at Apple. Brian Rose, who was previously worked for Universal Music Group, becomes the ninth person to take a seat at the top table under the current Premiership champions non-executive director role. And that happened in the July 2023 also. All kind of runs in conjunction with each other because since he came on board, Celtic TV have improved slightly. Celtic have brought out the app that they said they were going to bring out. That will soon lean more into the paid subscription stuff because this is what Brian Rose was brought into Celtic for, to create the platforms to help bring in even more revenue by you, the supporters. Yes, you that are sitting watching this. It's all that Celtic, and you could say, yeah, well, fair enough. It's the club. It's the way that they make money, and yes, it's the way going forward. After that announcement, everything kind of went a bit quiet. But then it broke yesterday, the day before, that Celtic are going to make an announcement. We'll wait and see when it happens. But they're bringing in a guy called Paul Mazior, or whatever he pronounced it. He's been brought in to work under Michael Nicholson, it said. But he's been brought in as business operations manager. Business operations manager. What that entails, we're not quite sure yet. People are only surmising what it could entail due to the fact that he was in charge of customer service type thing at Heineken, I believe. When you look at the fact that Celtic are attracting these top people, if you've ever been to the Heineken experience in Amsterdam, it's quite a thing. You know, you get to go around it and you can get a wee Heineken glass and you get to taste some Heineken at the end. I wonder if Celtic will start doing that, handing out when you do the Celtic tour. That's what he's been brought in for. A lot of people are saying, it's because he was going to be the go-between between Michael Nicholson and the supporters. No, he's not. I don't believe that he is. People are just taking stabs in the dark with this type of thing until Celtic come out and say this is what the guy's job is. When you look at his previous one and you look at the way that Celtic are going as a business, we're not getting rid of this board anytime soon. Just saying, just putting that out there this morning. There's no way you're getting rid of anyone. You might get rid of Nicholson, they might decide to stand down or retire, but other than that, this board are bringing in people that they think will align with their thoughts for running the football club. Whether it be the way that you want the football club to be run, maybe another question altogether. But the fact that he's worked with Heineken and his work was around customer services, when you look at the Heineken experience in Amsterdam, I think that he's been brought in to bring in more sponsorship, to make the Celtic Park Day experience more fun, to try and get more people in to do the club tours, to see how we can make it even more of an experience, bring them in, maybe take them, I don't know, maybe even take them down to Barrowfield where we spent 20 million. You never know. But anyway, that is the news yesterday that happened. And then there was the whole, and by the way, there's 10 players that have been called up for international duty. We'll talk about that first before we talk about the Martin O'Neill interview, the explosive Martin O'Neill. Was it explosive or was it just, let's talk about the 10 players that have been called up for international duty first. For the Scotland versus Japan friendly. Yes, a friendly versus Scotland, Japan. Somebody missed out, didn't they? Kieran Tierney and Tony Ralston's been called up. Tony Ralston's got a freebie on that position for Scotland, hasn't he? I mean, we all know his limitations at Celtic, but I'll tell you one thing, when he pulls on that Scotland shirt, he doesn't have to give his all, as he does for Celtic. Don't know, and I think that Tony Ralston, I mean, a lot of people give Tony stick, but the date for that is on the 28th of March, that weekend. Next weekend, there is no football. No football, as they say. Kieran Tierney and Tony Ralston's been called up for Scotland, and then there's a Scotland Ivory Coast game. Who cares a shit about that? Liam Scales and Johnny Kenny, even though Johnny Kenny isn't at Celtic right now, he is a Celtic player, so we should enjoy the fact. And would you rather Johnny Kenny had stayed? I'd be honest. Don't know, would you rather Johnny Kenny had stayed at Celtic? Because, I mean, I know that he wasn't scoring a load of goals, and we seem to be going through a hell of a time with strikers, don't we? Anyway, Liam Scales and Johnny Kenny have been called up for Ireland. And Dice Maida, he comes to Scotland to play for Japan. And Rio Hatati's got to sit on the sidelines and go, I hate yous all. I absolutely just hate yous all. I wonder if he just puts his head down like that and just stomps off like he does when he plays for Celtic. Anyway, Dice Maida has been called up to play Scotland and England. Dyson, fucking one over them. We'll all be supporting Japan that day, won't we? That's the Tuesday, the 31st of March at Wembley Stadium. I just love seeing England get beat. Just love it. Anybody. But anyway, Yang has been called up for South Korea. I was watching the TV last night, British TV for once, and there's some. It's a different story altogether. We'll leave that one. Anyway, Yang has been called up for his home country. Sinisalo has also been called up for Finland. They play New Zealand. That's a long trip for Sinisalo. And Cape Verde also. Yeah, what is it with these long trips? Sebastian Terexi's been called up for Tunisia, and they play Canada. A lot of Celtic connections going on a bit with these friendlies at this point. Alistair Johnson has been called up, but he won't partake in any games. He has been called up to just be part of the squad because he's such a fantastic guy within the squad. And but Martin O'Neill said that, well, maybe he should stay here and rehab. Martin O'Neill doesn't have a clue where any Celtic player is. He was asked about Alistair Johnson, and he said that he was, I think he's in Morocco, I think he's in Africa, taking the pure and utter piss. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Alistair Johnson being called up for Canada. Colby Donovan's been called up for the Scotland under-21, and that's your full allocation of Celtic players that have been called up for international duty. Right, we all hate international football, I know that. Let's get on to the Martin O'Neill interview. Before we finish off the video by talking about the next potential Celtic manager again, Martin O'Neill said, well, it was some interview, wasn't it? It was a 14-minute interview, and we got 1 minute of the game at the weekend. We expected that. I did say I felt sorry for Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill got to 9 minutes in the interview, and he even took his glasses off and went, lads. And he even said, look, I'm going to get the guy who does the physio to come in and do these interviews, because there's no point really in me doing it, because I don't know anything. And Martin O'Neill spoke about banning the cameras. Of course they should ban the cameras. Get them out. The whole Scottish media. Questioning was absolutely ridiculous yesterday. Repetitive. Don't know. You don't. Once one question's been asked about the Kasper Schmeichel situation, we do not need reoccurring journalists. And there were Celtic fan media journalists asking questions as well yesterday, by the way, asking the same question about Kasper Schmeichel. Don't know. They should be just given an allocation. Right, there's the Kasper Schmeichel situation. It's been addressed. Let's move on. But no, it got quite repetitive, and Martin O'Neill got a bit pissed off with it. He was getting asked about players all coming back, and he was getting a little bit. Martin O'Neill, there's a lot of people saying keep Martin O'Neill next season. Martin O'Neill can't wait to get away from the nonsense that he gets asked every week at these press conferences. But anyway, asked about Kasper Schmeichel, and we said, well, it's only he will know whether he has been fully honest with Celtic with the extent of his injury, admitting that the televised drama, and Martin O'Neill jokingly said, I think it was his dad that was pushing him to tell him, why the hell was Kasper Schmeichel, this was pre-planned, preempted. And Martin O'Neill was even asked about the disregard and disrespect for Celtic. And not only one TV interview, but two. You can get away with saying, it was a little bit of slip of the tongue. He forgot about Celtic in the moment. But to then go on television the second night, the guy thinks he's Trump. He thinks he can come in and do anything he wants, which is quite astonishing, really, to use a Martin O'Neill phrase. But anyway, Schmeichel, according to Martin O'Neill, well, I think he should get fined. Martin O'Neill joked about the fact that, yeah, come on, it's bad enough his career's finishing. Fining him as well. Fine him and don't let him anywhere near it. Maybe that's what he wants. Isn't it? But anyway, I'm sure that you'll fill the comments with lots of nice remarks about the whole situation. Martin O'Neill says that he was shoulder injury and he didn't believe that it required surgery. The fact is we know the history of this now. Kasper Schmeichel's come out and said that he broke it last year before the cup final. He then went in to play the cup final with getting injections, what makes it even worse. I mean, if you're talking about a situation where one person could be standing and digging his own his own hole. I mean, you would have been as well having an emoji or a little, like, take in the background, Kasper just digging his own hole with this one, because every time he spoke over the last, the 2 days in question, he just seemed to be going further and further and further into the whole situation that's happened at Celtic over the last year. And the comments online has enraged the Celtic fans. But anyway, he's 39-year-old, he's out of contract in the summer. He's most certainly played his last game for Celtic. He decided to turn up at training yesterday because he's contractually obligated to do so. Anyway, it was a shock announcement. The club didn't know about it. The fact that Kasper Schmeichel decided to just go behind Celtic's back. Celtic knew that he was going for this other scan. Was he faking the scans at Celtic? Was he telling Celtic he was okay? I don't know. The whole situation is kind of blown up in Celtic's face. But there's one thing for sure. Martin O'Neill won't have to deal with this much longer, because we are on the 21st of March. You've only got 2 more months, Martin. Hang in there. When is the league and when is the cup? And then you can just go, thank God for this. Yeah. And then we could all just give Martin and wish him well in his retirement again. 74 and you're talking about retirement. Come on. Everybody's wanting pipe and slippers at that age. Definitely not want to be running about Celtic Park and listen to the monotonous questions that they get asked on a weekly basis, as the Celtic manager does. Anyway, last week it was quite a chatter for the Motherwell manager. He's obviously been asked about the Celtic job and would he really be the ideal guy for Celtic at 43-year-old? Celtic, if Celtic haven't drawn up a shortlist by now of potential people to take over, because it's getting to the time of the season where surely Celtic will be wanting to conclude this, because Martin O'Neill, if we get to the cup final, when we get to the cup final, and the day after the cup final, Martin O'Neill will step down. He'll leave the club. Done and dusted. My job's done. My work here's done. You would want Celtic to make an announcement as soon as possible after that. Is the Motherwell manager does he have enough experience? The type of football that he plays, is it suitable to Celtic, really? Does it leave us open in midfield? Who do you want as Celtic manager? Anyway, there is games this weekend. Thank goodness. I'm back to. I miss. I do miss the midweek football. It's quite good when you've got that Wednesday night, Thursday night football for Celtic, and you've got something to look forward to. Just means that summer's coming close, isn't it? With that, and are you staying up to watch the World Cup at the ridiculous times that it's on during the summer? There's no way am I watching football at 4 in the morning. Anyway, this weekend, full card on it's a strange one because this is the first weekend in a long time that Celtic haven't played before Hearts or Rangers. Today you have Falkirk versus this story. Yeah, today it's Saturday today. I didn't even check what day of the week it was. Let's see what happens when you take some time off. Falkirk versus St Mirren, 3 o'clock kickoff. Hearts versus Dundee. Oh, come on, Dundee. A wee 2-1 win, just like 1986. Just let Hearts win 1-0 up until about the 90th minute, and then Dundee go and score 2 goals late on. Just like 1986 still. I know it's not the last game of the season, but doing it this week would be absolutely fantastic because we're going to the international break, and if Celtic can be top and be above Hearts today on going into the international break, that would be the biggest wind-up ever, wouldn't it? So come on, Dundee, just do it. Kilmarnock versus Livingston is the other game. That's at home. Kilmarnock will be at Livingston. They'll absolutely destroy them, I think. Motherwell versus Hibernian. Now, that's a battle and a half, isn't it? And then there's the game that always happens. The Aberdeen end up getting completely mauled at Rangers. They play at Ibrox Park this afternoon. And then it's all up to Celtic tomorrow to play catch-up. Or will it be the day that Celtic know if we win against Dundee United, if Dundee have done their job like they should do against Hearts, I think Hearts might win that game. But we can live in hope. We can live in hope, can't we? And that's all that you really want in football. So that little bit of hope. But it would be absolutely hilarious if we went top of the league tomorrow. Come on, Dundee, you can do it. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.